You're live.
Yay!
All right, we're on now. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties, growing pains for the first episode. So, welcome everyone to our first episode, 15 minutes late, of Leading with Leverage. Really excited to introduce you to a couple of um, my favorite people. We got Jamie Carezzi and Lindsay Grosso with the Anne Marie Carezzi team out of Philly. Just want to tell you all a little bit about Leading with Leverage and what we're going to be trying to do in these interviews. So there's going to be a series of interviews. We're going to be talking with rainmakers, visionaries like Jamie right here that have decided to transform their business by bringing in leverage, talented individuals like Lindsay, and what has worked for them, what maybe has not worked. What lessons have they learned? What best tips and best practices they have that they'd like to share with us. So again, Jamie Carezzi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jamie Carezzi of the Anne Marie Carezzi Real Estate Team. I'm on a team with two of my sisters, and we have a Jersey Shore specialist. I live in Philadelphia. Before that, I was in New York City and Los Angeles for 15 years. So I am definitely a city girl. I spend a lot of my time traveling, well, when we're allowed, and I love my yoga and my Peloton. But first and foremost, my career is very important to me. I love real estate. I really pride myself on being involved in the transactions from beginning to end and turning my clients into lifelong friends.
Awesome. And Lindsay, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Bucks County in Newtown. I went to Westchester University. I graduated with a communication studies major, so I still live out in Westchester. And my previous experience was a lot in marketing, social media, podcasting, PR, things like that. And I just recently joined Jamie's team about 6 months ago.
We cover Philadelphia County, Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery County.
Mhm.
Awesome. And these two are one of my favorite success stories right here. Lindsay has only been on the team here for about 6 months, but your business, Jamie, has dramatically transformed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, beyond my wildest dreams.
I think you said that when we went back and did the numbers, that the pace of the business is up about 50% just in 6 months.
Absolutely. Yeah. This year I did 13 million myself. Our team did about 35, and I'm on track. I mean, we're only in month 2, but it should be 20 million myself. So we're hoping the team to do 50.
Awesome. And Jamie, Lindsay, she was your first assistant ever.
My first and my favorite.
So and I think you had said that that was a little bit scary, right? It had been just you, and this was a whole new level of responsibility for you. Can you talk a little bit about some of the feelings that you were having when you were trying to make the decision about, am I going to bring on an assistant to try to grow my business?
For sure. From the beginning, I was like, I can bring on a buyer's agent. They're free. They're free until you make money. So that was where my head kept going. And every Keller Williams training I went to was really your admins first, or your executive assistants first. So after COVID, I was so busy. I mean, all day long, every day, it was just so chaotic and crazy. I felt like I was drowning, that I was missing leads. I was, personal leads, that they were just getting lost in it because I was so busy with the transactions going on. So it came to a point where I had to do something, and it always resonated with me, at the Gene Rivers events, and I'd hear Mike McCann, and they would always say, if you don't have an assistant, you're not serious about this business. So that was something that really stuck with me. And I knew it was time to do it. I knew I wouldn't be the best at choosing the right person. So I hired Soprani Consulting, and they matched me with this wonderful human being that I'm so grateful for. She has changed my life in so many ways, but it was overwhelming. Even just to put, the initial for the actual consulting and the hiring, it was like, okay, fine. What's $10,000? But when it became an actual salary that you're going to pay somebody and they are dependent on you, the accountability that it holds me to, that was overwhelming and a little bit scary, but it's done wonderful things for me. I've become a better human being, a better leader, a better agent. So it was overwhelming to have somebody else be dependent on you for their pay. That was just one thing that was definitely scary going into it. And am I going to be busy enough? Do I bring enough value to the table? All those things go through your head. as you bring on an employee.
Yeah, in Keller Williams talk, we talk about the drunk monkey,
Totally.
fear-based reasons not to take action or to step up your game. You kind of fought through that. Not that there wasn't fear there, but you knew based on mentors telling you, hey, if you want to take your business seriously, if you want to take it to the next level, you got to step up your level of responsibility, and bring someone on that's going to help provide some leverage. So you did hire Soprani Consulting. Again, not an infomercial here for us, but just full disclosure. We helped you hire Lindsay. I get a chance to work with you on a regular basis. You had taken career visioning. Can you tell us a little bit about, the decision to take career visioning, which is a great program where Keller Williams helps teach agents, best practices for hiring. You took career visioning. You still wound up hiring us instead of doing it yourself. Can you talk a little bit about your decision there?
Yes, absolutely. So I did career visioning because I knew I was ready to hire. And a couple hours into it, I was like, wow, this is really horrible. I don't learn like that. I'm 100 miles per hour, go, go, go. I like people. I like interaction. The career visioning, the best thing I got out of it was don't make the wrong hire. It's going to cost you so much more money to hire the wrong person. So that is what resonated with me the most. But career visioning, it was just like the longest day and way over my head. I understand the value of it and how important it is. It just wasn't in my mechanics as a person to go through all of that to hire the right person. So at the end of day one, I was like, oh God, I need help. Who does this and who does it great? Because this isn't something that I even want to do. So with not wanting to do it, I'm definitely not going to do it great. But yeah, the one thing was a bad hire is going to cost you more money than anything. And you're going to lose a lot of time, money, and energy in a bad hire. So that's when I knew, to Costa Prani, I knew I needed the right hire. And you guys were the right hire. And then you guys helped me get the right hire.
Well, I appreciate that. Career Visioning's a great program, and hats off to you for self-awareness, just knowing that it wasn't for you to do everything that was required to do the hire right, and getting some other leverage in terms of finding someone to help you do it correctly. Now, I'd like to take a step back and go back to the interview process. So can you tell us, Jamie, a little bit about the things that really impressed you that made Lindsay stand out to you, where you were like, okay, I think we've found the one here? Because I want, to maybe provide some insight to job seekers that are going to see this. What is a high performing realtor looking for, or what helped Lindsay stand out to you?
So going into it, knowing, all the candidates that were sent to me, I would say almost all of them didn't really have real estate experience, which I was totally okay with because I wanted to teach them my way that I do real estate. So Lindsay, I went through the first rounds, we had some people I interviewed. There was just something missing. So I said, can we get a couple more? And Lindsay came through, and just things that she was saying, I was like, oh, wow, I need that. Oh, I need that. Oh, you're good at that. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. And so she was hitting off all of these things that I was very clearly aware that I could use them. I could benefit from somebody that excelled in those areas. So things that she was saying, I knew right away. Yes, I wanted to do a live interview with her. The way she presented herself, her ideas, her experience and other things, just being herself and what she brought to the table business-wise, professionally, and as a human being, her human spirit just was something that I knew I wanted more of. And she just brought things that I didn't even, going into it, I didn't know how important they were to me. But as she said them, I knew, yes, I can benefit from that. Yes, oh, I don't have that. I could use that. And to see that we were very different, but we also had similarities that I knew or hoped that we would mesh well.
Yeah, and you two definitely mesh well.
Oh, we're lifers. We're lifers.
I'm so grateful to have kind of been on this journey with you. I always look forward to my sessions with you, not just saying that. It's kind of like a couple of sisters, that just understand each other really well.
Even I work with my sisters. So sometimes Lindsay, I'm like, Linz, good luck, girl. The whole family's in today. And we have real estate issues and we have some family issues that we're going to work out in the office. So thank you. But no, she's a perfect mesh. Even my sisters say, wow, I didn't know that somebody could mesh with you so well. And she does, even just in every aspect of our career. And then that's our intercom. Sorry, that's annoying. But even just the way she meshes with everyone in my family, which is super important to me, especially because they're business partners of mine. She was just a perfect match.
Yeah, I'm super fond of her too. And Lindsay, what impressed you about Jamie early on? You know, during the process where you're like, okay, yep, she's the one that I want to work with next. You know, what were the things so that the other rainmakers out there that are thinking about hiring an assistant, it's a competitive job market right now. You know, what were some of the things that she did and how she presented herself that really impressed you and made you feel like, you know what, I can definitely see myself working and being a right hand for this awesome lady.
Yeah, some of the things she did was right when we met for the first time, and she was so personable, and I felt like she was a real straight shooter when I first like met her. And she'd be like, okay, like this and this is what I want to do, like these are my goals, these are what I envision for myself. And a lot of it wasn't just the business part of it, which I really loved it. She spoke a lot, not just about the business, that's one factor to it, but also about what her personal values were, where she sees, what she values. And for me, that was really important because at the end of the day, we're both humans and the business can get done. But if me and her aren't compatible on that level, it makes the business part a little bit harder to do. So it was really awesome to see her. And she was so warm and welcoming. And she was just awesome when I first met her.
Yeah, I feel like you two.
About now.
So Jamie, what were some of the things that Lindsay did early on? You know, once she got hired, once she got in the door, what were some of the things she did early on that really impressed you? Because again, other people, you know, once they get the job, they want to know, hey, what can I do to really impress? Because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Always want to get on the right foot.
She's always here before me every single day. She's always early. She's literally never been late. She's never missed a day. She's always has a smile on her face. She always has a great attitude. She's always willing to learn. She's always asked questions if she doesn't understand something, you know, and the right time if I'm in the middle of something, but she'll jot it down and know, hey, I didn't understand this. Can you show me exactly how you wanted it done? So she went out of her way, I feel like, to make sure she wanted to understand what I wanted and what I needed. And truly just always, she's always in a good mood. And we go through a lot in real estate. I mean, with the amount of moving factors, especially with human beings and different human beings all the time, it can get really intense. And she just is always so kind, so compassionate with myself, with my clients, our clients. So I just feel that she was warm, welcoming, loving, and trusting. From day one, I was like, oh, I trust you with my life. Here's my credit cards. Here you go. So just so many things of her natural personality that she brought to the table, and her willingness to learn something that she knew nothing about. She had all these skills that make her amazing, but she didn't know real estate specifically. And just to even jump in and say, cool, teach me what you want me to do. I was like, oh God, okay, I think I know what I want you to do. We're going to work, you know, figure all that out, which we have. You know, we've made so many huge strides. But yeah, just being herself and bringing her natural wonderfulness to the table was super helpful for me.
Yeah, and as a consultant that gets to work with a lot of people like Lindsay and obviously yourself, I do feel like I see the same thing that you see in her. Like I see a genuine hunger and interest in learning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always love to see someone that isn't just kind of sitting back waiting to be asked what to do. You know, we want to see someone that's, you know, when I see someone that's coming in and has a hunger to learn and get a deeper understanding, that tells me that they're fully invested in wanting to be the best that they can be in the role. So
Right.
that's a really important thing, you know, and that
Yeah.
was one thing that really impressed me about her too.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So not to throw a wet blanket on all of this, on all these hugs and stuff that we have flying around right now, but everything, you know, we can all stub our toes periodically. There are growing pains and stuff like that. Um, Jamie, can you highlight something where maybe things weren't perfect, you know, what wasn't perfect, and how did you go about, how did we go about kind of fixing that to improve the situation and move on?
Uh, yeah, so I feel like I am 100 miles an hour all the time, like brrr, right into it. So making sure I can slow down to, I want her to succeed at such a high level. So just slowing down sometimes to making sure, yes, you heard what I said, or did I even say that? Was it just in my head, or did I actually say something? So I feel like some of the obstacles were just learning how to communicate with each other in the most productive way. We do have very different personalities. So I don't want to be overwhelming. It's now at the point where Lindsay can be like, "Oh, okay, okay." So I would say that would be one of them. Just learning how to communicate in a super or highly productive way, and slowing down and just making the time to make sure she understands what my job is and what I do, so then she can understand my role, so therefore she knows what she can do to leverage me, which she's done tremendously. So I think one of the big things was just taking her around in the beginning and just being like, hey, you're going to hang with me all day and see what my days are like, what my appointments are like, who I talk to throughout the day, and just getting her comfortable enough, being able to call on my behalf for so many different things. So I would say communication, uh, learning how to communicate was one of the biggest issues for me personally, because I am so fast and so blunt, so so direct.
Well, you like most busy agents are, you know, you're running around all over the place, and I think you had said that there were some times where, you know, you thought you would ask Lindsay to do a certain thing and then it didn't happen, but then you weren't even sure, did I even ask her? And you wound up leveraging just some technology that
Mhm.
you two can use so that you stay on the you can stay on the same page, and everyone knows what's being expected. What again did you all wind up
So
using?
it used to be called Wonderlist, and now it's Microsoft To Do List. It's an app, and it's great because you make your checklist and you can assign the tasks to each other. But also, when it gets crossed off, they're still on there. It's just completed. There's some checklist where once it's marked off, it disappears. So I'm like, did we just talk about that? And it's, oh yes, it was there, and it was completed on this date at this time. So for me and Lindsay, we found that to be super helpful to have a running task list that we can go back and forth and always check in with. And then we have our daily stand up on there that we can check in. What did we talk about? Or, hey, this needs to be brought up at our beginning of the day meeting or our end of the day meeting. So that's something that we reference throughout the day many times.
And Lindsay, I think you said that early on, you know, you wanted to make sure that you both had a good feeling for what had been accomplished and what still needed to be accomplished. I think you said that you started, you know, I believe you'd said on your own, kind of doing like your own recaps and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about what you did there to help make sure that you guys were clear on where everything was?
For sure. In the beginning, I was coming in all the time, but then there was like one week in particular where we both had to work from home, and I wanted to make sure that, and I'd done this in a previous job where at the end of the day, I was working from home all the time. So we were responsible for sending a recap daily. That way, even though because we were working from home, everyone knew what tasks were being completed and we could kind of stay on track. And when we had worked from home that one week, I did that just to make sure that, okay, Jamie knew what I was doing. It wasn't like she was running around on appointments and then she would sit down at the end of the day and be like, so what was Lindsay doing all day? So it really helped us stay clear with the projects that we were working on, what was actually accomplished. So going into 2021, we realized that that was a really great system for us because then we could go back, reflect, and see what we actually did the whole day. I think I said it on Wednesday where everything was moving so fast, and before you know it, it's 5 o'clock and you're ready to leave, and you sit down and you actually write down everything that was completed and you go through everything. You really sit there and you're like, oh, like I did a lot today.
We're
And
killing it.
and it helps you stay on task, it helps you stay focused, and then she can say, okay, this and this was done, we didn't get to this, and then she can come to me in the morning and say, hey, this project wasn't worked on. Let's go ahead and start working on that today. So again, it just further helps us communicate and better communicate because it's written down. There's something tangible that we can go ahead and look at. And it's not a question of, oh, did I say it? Did I tell her not to say it? Like not to work on it, but we actually have something that we can look at.
Yeah, I mean, communication is so important, and obviously big kudos to you all for, placing a big importance on solid communication. And also when things were funky, you could have gotten into anger or resentment or something like that. You kind of took a step back and be like, okay, it's probably just that we're not on the same page here. Let's be proactive, figure out how to get back on the same page. Because we know that Jamie's working hard. We know that Lindsay's working hard, and there was just some little disconnect there. So one of my goals for these interviews is I would like for the rainmaker and the assistant both. We'll start with Lindsay. If you could give one piece of advice, Lindsay, to a rainmaker in terms of what they should do to help make it a win, bringing on some leverage and some help, and if you could give one piece of advice to an assistant that wants to make it work when they're brought on in that role, what would it be?
I think for the rainmaker, my biggest advice would be to actually take the time to help that assistant learn the process. For me, what was super beneficial was that Jamie had already had these checklists and lists and everything, but she said, these are what I have now. Let's work together to create a new system so that it's something new and improved and we both have an understanding of it. And for me, again, coming from an experience not in real estate, it truly helped. Okay, like we're going to go through what happens when you get a listing, when we're under contract, and really creating those systems together and walking me through it and really taking the time to explain those steps to me, because I feel like in the first 6 months, I feel like I have I don't think I'm an expert by any means, but I feel like I have a really good grasp on what the process is for purchasing and buying a home. And I don't know if I would have gotten that with another boss or with another, or like with some sort of course or training system. So I thought that was really important. And then something for the assistant, I think, is kind of what Jamie touched on, is just always have a positive attitude. I think that does go a long way, and really be open to new ideas and new experiences. I think a lot of people come in and they are so set in what they've learned before with the previous job. And they're like, well, I did it there, so I have to do A, B, and C. But be open and hearing what they're doing and be able to bring on your new experiences, but being able to really, mesh the two together really well.
Gotcha. So Lindsay's obviously really appreciative of the investment that Jamie made of her time and efforts getting her up to speed. So Jamie, now you, one piece of advice to the rainmakers that want to hire someone, one piece of advice to the assistants that want to do a great job for the new boss.
Okay. So for the rainmakers, I would say invest in your new assistant or your new hire. For me, I'm on the coaching calls every week with Lindsay and Ryan, and I want her to know that I value her and I'm invested in her and I want to grow with her. So I put the time in. So when we are done our call, it's great. I can't wait to see. So now these are our goals. So I would say, Rainmaker, be involved, give yourself and your new hire the gift of being there. Make time to be on those calls so you can set them up for success, so you can truly show them what you want. Lindsay has a good idea of me, but with us sitting together, I could say, no, this is exactly what I want. Of course, I want your input, but this is what I was thinking. How do we get there? And for an assistant, or the new hire, ask questions. Don't act like you don't know something that you don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. That goes for all of us. There's many things that we all don't know. So ask questions, and be comfortable asking questions. I think that would be my best advice for an assistant. Be comfortable asking questions. What did you say? What did you mean? Hey, can you sit down and explain this to me because I don't understand? Lindsay's much younger than me, even not ever buying a house yet. It's super, it's like a first time buyer. I want to sit down and make sure you understand the process so you are confident in the decisions that you make. I want to do everything I can to empower you. So by asking great questions, we have gotten so far. So I think that would be my advice for a new assistant.
In the beginning, I was always really nervous about asking a lot of questions because I didn't know if I felt like I was bothering her or because I don't know much about something. So I felt like she was such an expert. So it's like, is this question a dumb question? I don't really know.
No such thing as a dumb question.
And I felt like the more questions I asked and the more I was okay with like the feeling of asking those questions, Jamie did a lot of that, like reassured me that it was okay. I'm now like so comfortable with asking, like if I don't know something, she's the first person I call and I have her walk me through it.
Even the clarification, instead of doing something 5 times, you can literally ask a question, get clarification, and then move forward, as opposed to trying to do it and then it not going so well. It becomes, you 3 steps forward, 5 steps backwards. And just ask the question, you can keep plowing forward.
I love that. And thanks for chiming in with that there, Lindsay, because I think it's a great point that someone that's new, they're like, oh, well, I'm trying to impress. I don't want to look stupid. Is there dumb questions, stuff? It's really easy to see how someone could have those thoughts and emotions. And especially with, I'm not going to get too deep into the disc, but most of the assistants are higher on the C's, high C's, or afraid of making mistakes. Am I going to make a mistake? Am I going to upset them by asking a dumb question? All that stuff. People can get stuck in their thoughts and not raise their hand. But there's multiple wins by asking the question, at least from my perspective. So first of all, you're gonna get the answer to your question, which is great. Yeah. Your boss also is gonna know that you care. Like you care enough to ask the question. That's a big thing for me. I know it was a big thing for Jamie.
Yeah.
And in terms of just the investment that Jamie has made here, not just of the the money investment to bring Lindsay on and train and stuff like that, but it's not an accident, the results that Jamie and Lindsay are getting here. Jamie is all in here, like she has said. She shows up on the calls every week. She's there and pouring into her assistant, and that's a really big deal. The assistant sees that you care. Also, you pouring into your assistant, they're going to, it's an upfront investment, that you're making in this person that's coming in. The more you pour into them in the beginning, the faster they're going to be able to take all those things that you don't want to do off of your plate. So yeah, it's a little bit of pain in the beginning. A lot of times, I'll get a client that's hiring a new assistant, and sometimes I feel like they're just kind of throwing money at a problem. I'm going to hire an assistant and that's going to offload this stuff for me, and now I don't have to worry about it. Or with the training of the assistant, I'm going to throw some money at and I don't have to worry about it. Well, yes, you can do that, but if you want the best results, you're going to kind of double down on your investment. You're bringing the person on and you're going to pour into them to get them up to speed, because the better job you do there, the more empowered they're going to be to kick butt for you. So.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't imagine not being on them. And I know this isn't like a promo, but I just want to say, you guys have changed my life and my career in so many ways and so many levels. I am tremendously forever grateful for you. You guys are so good at what you do. You literally have raised the bar for me and my business. And I am so thankful. You guys are amazing at what you do. And anybody who is serious about getting their business to the next level, you should do yourself a favor and hire Zucrani Consulting. I mean, it really is. They are the real deal. They follow the Red Book. They follow so many things that we learned that we couldn't implement ourselves. So hats off to you guys. I'm never leaving coaching.
Well, thank you for the nice words. This is not an infomercial, but I do appreciate you sharing the nice things. And for everyone that's watching the video, if you're looking for, if you ever have a referral to send to the Philly area, and that person is going to need, someone that's going to fight really hard for you, a no nonsense dynamo team that's going to do a really strong job representing your clients, and you should definitely consider the Anne Marie Carezzi team and Jamie and Lindsay here, because they're amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you guys so much.
Love you guys too. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking time today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.